This is a quick video on the homework for 7.1 for Secondary Math 1. And here we go. So it starts out by defining the half plane, and that would be half of a graph. Half of a graph, and it's separated by a boundary line, so separated by a boundary line, which is just a graph of a line. So when we looked at these pictures on a graphing calculator, and we looked where it shaded only half of the graph, this is an example of the half plane, and that line that separated them is called the boundary line, which is just a normal graph that we graph. And the first part of our notes had to do with less than, greater than. So Tanya is baking a zucchini muffins and pumpkin muffins for a school event. She called zucchini muffins X and pumpkin muffins Y. And then she was supposed to write in a linear inequality to describe that. So if she made zucchini muffins and pumpkin muffins, she needs at least 500 muffins for the event. So together they have to be greater than or equal to 500, and that's all you do. It's just write an equation like that. That's easy. So the next part, let's do Hero. Hero needs to buy new pens and pencils for school. Pens cost $1 each and pens cost $2.50 each. He has $10 to spend. So let's start by calling them some letter that you want to. What do you want to call new pens? What letter?
P.
P, okay. And then what are you going to call pencils?
E.
E? Sure.
P and E.
So then we have pencils, $1 per pencil plus $2.50 per pen has to be what compared to $10? How much he spends has to be what compared to $10? If you have $10, can you spend more than $10?
No.
No. Can you spend less than $10?
Yes.
Can you spend equal to $10?
Yes.
So this needs to be less than or equal to 10. Do you want me to do one more with you, or are you good with that? Pick one that you want me to do if you want me to do one more.
Number 5.
Number 5 has a lot of words, but that's one of the easiest ones there is.
3.
Sure, we can do 3. So Patty makes decorative flower pots. It costs her $20 to purchase the materials for each pot. She wants to charge more than $6 per hour of labor plus her materials cost for each pot. So she wants to charge $6 per hour of labor plus her materials for each pot. So with this one, what we're going to do is we're going to say what Patty charges. We're going to say Y is equal to how much she charges. And then, so what she charges, she wants to charge greater than or more than $6 per hour, and I'm going to call H for the hours, plus the cost of the materials, which is 20. And that's it. Okay. Sound good? All right, so you have to do 2 more of those. You can do these 2 or you can do 6. The next part is super duper easy. And all you have to do is you have to tell if it's dashed or solid, and that is all you do. Are these going to be a dashed line or a solid line? Yes.
On the last one,
Number 6?
yes, with the $20 per material for each pot, would that be 20, like, cost for each pot, or just 20 plain?
For each pot, $6 per hour. Oh, I just said 20. Maybe it could be 20, 20p or something like that. Yep. Because we have number of pots and we have number of hours. So we could do pot. Sure. Okay, P for pot. So these, we're just supposed to say if it's dashed or solid. Since this has a line underneath, it's going to be solid. What kind is this one going to be, dashed or solid?
Yeah.
Dashed, why?
Because it doesn't have a line on it.
So dashed, no line under. Yeah, that's all you do for these. Number 9, dashed or solid?
Dash.
Why? No line. 10, dashed or solid?
Solid.
Why?
Has a line.
Has a line. Does that make sense? So that's all you're doing for those. This next part then, you are just supposed to use this test point, and we started to talk about this in the notes, to tell which half plane you should do. So this is how you use the test point. We're going to replace the y with 0 and the x with 0. So there'll be 9 times by 0. So then you'd have negative 30 is less than or equal to 0. Is this true or is this false? Is negative 30 less than or equal to 0?
No. Oh,
Is negative 30 less than 0? Yeah, so this is a true statement. So that means you would say shade where the point 0, 0 is. If it was a false statement, you do not want to shade on that side. So for example, let's try number 7. Replace the y with 0 and replace the x with 0. So now we have negative 8 is greater than 12. Is that true or is that false?
I don't know, is it true or is it false?
That's what I'm asking you. Is negative 8 greater than 0? I mean 12? No, so this is a false statement, and since it was false, we would say don't shade. In other words, shade on the other side. Don't shade where the point 0, 0 is. So you look and see, is that the sense that's false? You don't, and you find where 0 is, and you shade on the other side of the line. Yeah.
Isn't negative 8 times 0, 0?
Oh yeah, 0, but either way, yeah, thank you. Yes. Negative 8 times by 0 is 0, but is 0 greater than 12? No. So it's still false. Okay. That was awesome. Okay, so you need to do 2 more of those. We're just supposed to graph this. So let's look and see which we're supposed to do. We can tell 2 different things from this symbol. First, is this going to be solid or dotted? Solid, because there's a line underneath, right? Solid. Okay, and then are we supposed to shade above or below? Look at your notes. So look at this thing. If this is the first time you're watching it, pause the video and write this table down. So are we going to shade above or below? Look at the table. Above. So because it's eating the y, nom, 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 then we're going to shade above.
That's how I learned it, and then my teacher said that was the wrong way for some reason. Yeah.
Okay, so then we're going to graph this. So this graph starts at 10, and the slope is negative, is negative 1. So that means we go down 1, right 1, down 1, right 1, all the way across the graph. And then it's a solid line, so you go like this. And then do we shade above or below? What did we say? Above. So above the line is this little triangle right here. So we're going to shade right there. Okay. Then you can do things like number 23. Where do we start number 23? Where are we supposed to start? The negative 3.
Do a bit longer. I didn't write down the graph yet.
We start at 10, go down 1, right 1.
Oh, okay.
Then this one we start at negative 3. Since the slope is 1/2, what does that mean we do for the slope? Up 1, right 2. Up 1, right 2. And I just keep on making the graph go. I think it's faster to do it like this than try to type it in the calculator. And then is it supposed to be solid or dotted? Solid. And is it supposed to be above? Solid. Is it supposed to be above or below? Above.
Poltergeist.
So then we're going to make a solid line right here
Origin.
and then shade above. Be so careful when you're doing these. I'm doing these in pen so that you can see them. If you do them in pen at home or on your homework and then you realize you made a mistake, life is a miserable, miserable thing to do. Okay. Next one, when there are x's and y's on the same side, you can sing your favorite song, the add or subtract the x term, then divide by the coefficient of y. Or please don't sing or talk while I'm talking. That's not nice. It's still not nice to do it while I'm talking.
Okay.
So we're going to do, or you can do the 0, comma something, something, comma 0, cover up the X, so then what is Y? When I cover up the X, what does
So
it say Y
greater
is?
than 1.
Well, but we're just gonna put 1 right here, and then put the X there, so what is X? If negative X is equal to 1, what does X equal?
Negative 1.
Negative 1. Then we graph those. Over 0, up 1. Back 1, up 0. And then is this supposed to be solid or dotted? Dotted. And then it's technically still eating the Y, so that's going to be above. Or if you did 0 is greater than 1, that's false, so we do not want to shade where that origin is. So I'm going to change all these lines where I'm going to go up 1 over 1. I'm going to change them just to dashes as I'm graphing it. And then we're supposed to not shade where the 0 is, and so I'm going to shade on this side of it. I think these are a lot easier to do on Alex, so when you get to that point, you'll know what to do.
Ms. Cornberg, do you like Matty B raps?
Let's not do the squirrels right now. Okay, then these, I'm gonna leave this one for you to do. Let's see, should I leave that one for you to do? I can do it with you. We add or subtract the X term.
Use 26.
Yeah,
as
I think you should do
fraction.
independent work. You can do this however you want to, 0 comma something, something comma 0, or you can add or subtract the X term and divide by the coefficient of Y. Either way. This one I recommend multiplying everything by 8 to get rid of the fractions. But that's up to you. So those are going to be yours to do at home.
Sorry, price will be-
I'll let you
They're
work
going
on
to
it.
give
you a problem such as this one. You graph it, shade it, and then they tell you a point like this, graph that point, and then you have to say, is that point in the shaded region, yes or no? And that's all you do.
Are you kidding me?
And if it is in the shaded region, you say it's a solution. If it's not, you say it's not a solution. So then we do this one. So graphing this one, I don't want to solve for Y. I would rather do 0 comma something, something comma 0. And then if I covered up the X, I would have to do 2 divided by 0.25, right? So exit, menu, normal calculator. Exit. I'm not good at this thing. Delete. Delete.
Isn't that a movie?
Okay. So I get my calculator and I do 2, because right, if I covered up the X, I would do 2 divided by 0.25, and I get 8, so 0 comma 8. And the other one is going to be 2 divided by 0.45, and that's 4.4. And then I graph those. So over 0, up 8, put a dot. Over 4.4, which is like about right there, up 0, put a dot. And then I can see that's supposed to be a solid line because since there's a line underneath. So I'm going to graph this line like that. And then I'm going to do the test point to figure out if I'm supposed to shade above or below that. So if I put zeros in for both of these, 0 plus 0, what's 0 plus 0? 0. So is 0 less than or equal to 2?
No.
Is that true or false? Is 0 less than 2?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. So we do want to shade on this side. So I'm going to shade where the Z, because here's 0, 0 right there. I do want to shade on that side. So I shade it.
Well, let's see.
And then we want to know, is the point 2, 3 in there? So over 2, up 3 is right there. Is 2, 3 in that shaded region?
Yes.
So you say yes, 2, 3 is a solution. That's it. So you graph the line, shade it, then plot the point that they gave you. Be very careful with how you're graphing it, because if you don't graph it carefully, then when it comes to a point, if you didn't graph it nicely, then you may not be able to tell if it's in or out of the thing. So that's all you do? That's the end of the lesson.